Markets have been relatively slow this week. However, GBPUSD has been especially fun to trade. I'll have an update on my trade that I put on Monday. Also talk key levels where I think this market could be headed over the coming days. And of course, the latest on the DXY as always. Now, if you guys want my help with your trading, including seeing my trades in real time, and that also includes this trade I put on this week on the pound, which is currently up over 100 pips, then be sure to check out the link in the description of this video for 85% off lifetime access. If you're on the website, click on that join VIP link. You're going to get access to my trades live, also VIP only videos, daily trade setups, discussions throughout the day, all in Discord, and also access to the full course. All right, guys, looking at the pound GBPUSD 4-hour time frame. So the last video that we talked about here, which was technically Wednesday, we talked about this in the midweek outlook. However, back on Monday, if you watch that video, what we talked about here for GBPUSD 4-hour time frame was this channel right here. Okay, this ascending channel back here. We had the market starting to break down. Now, there were a few factors that led to my short on Monday. And again, I shared this short in Discord in real time up here at 135.38. Okay, so right up here in this area, I was shorting the pound, and I shared that, including with my stop loss and take profit in real time in Discord. Now, there were a few things that led to that. Okay, so looking here, we discussed this back on Wednesday. However, you can see lows back here, this high, and then this high. So we did sweep this high back here, but ultimately, guys, this is really just one big range here for the pound, right? You've got the highs back here, you've got these lows in this area, and like I pointed out recently, really, yes, this is a range. However, this is essentially the upper half of this bigger range, with the mid-range being right here around 133.84. Okay, now we'll talk about that here in a moment and why that's significant. However, the factors that led to my short here, the first one being the fact that we were coming off of this resistance area. Okay, so that's first and foremost. You obviously want to try to be shorting from resistance, longing from support. So that's number one. Number two here was this lower high that we saw from the pound. So this was very different from what we saw, during this run-up, right? Because this run-up, what we saw was consolidation, and these were actually higher highs and higher lows, right? The same thing back here. We saw the market just doing this before it took off again, and this was very different because we actually had a lower high develop, okay? So this was really a change in market behavior since the low down here at the beginning of August. So that was the second factor. And the third factor was, of course, the break below this ascending channel right here. Okay, so you can see that on the 4-hour time frame, we did get a breakdown right through here. And what you'll notice too, and people will argue with me about this sometimes, but you can see that the lower level here, this lower support level here off of these lows down here doesn't quite connect with this low back here in August. Now, this, is one of those cases, guys, where what I did here was I used these highs up here. Okay, I used these highs up here to then anchor a level off of these highs and drag a parallel level down here off of these lows. Okay, so this is a case where you can get away without using the very low here, because again, I'm using these three very distinct highs back here to anchor a level and then draw a parallel level from that. Okay, so that right there, guys, the fact that this lower level lined up perfectly with these lows down here told me that this was significant and that this breakdown was also significant. And that's why I was shorting from 135.38. Okay, so those three reasons, guys. I wanted to give a little bit of a backstory for you guys, just so you know where I'm coming from. And also just to kind of educate you guys if you don't already know these things when you're trading. Obviously, anytime you can find multiple factors leading to a long or short, the better. All right, so looking at the pound now, guys, what we have is the market coming into some support down here in the form of this descending channel. So if we look at the 1-hour time frame, you can see where, pretty clean here from the pound so far. You can see that off of these highs up here, again, we have this parallel channel. And guys, I love parallel channels. If you've watched these videos enough, you know that I love these kind of structures because markets love symmetry, right? And so you can see that the market right now is kind of battling with this support area down here. Now, I'm by no means saying that this is a long. I don't think that it is, simply because we do have an established downtrend this week. All right, so that's the first factor. Again, the second factor here is that we have this mid-range down here around 133.84 that is yet to be tested. And like I said in Monday's video, we have this single print down here at 133.84 that has yet to be tested. Now, this is significant because back here on this candle, let's go back to the hourly time frame. And what you'll notice here is that this is our key level. Okay, our key level, also the mid-range of that larger range we talked about. You can see that the market reclaimed it up here. And then what you'll notice is if I move over here, you can see that GBPUSD never tested this level as new support. Okay, so we had a very thinly traded area through here, hence this single print. Okay, and markets tend to revisit areas like this. So now we have the pound approaching this area, right? And the closer it gets to areas like this, guys, the more likely it is that we get a retest there. So all of that to say that I don't think that this is a long right now. Yes, we could see a bounce here from the pound, but I don't like the idea of looking for longs here just because we do have that signal print down here. And again, we do have an established downtrend so far this week. Okay, and if you want evidence too of how a market can target these areas and they can serve as magnets, so to speak, for a market or support or resistance, look no further than this one back here that we discussed on Monday. So again, very thinly traded area through here on that breakdown. We had the market come up here and revisit this as resistance, and that offered a great short opportunity that we talked about in Monday's video, right? So right off of that area, 2 pips above it, in fact. So really, really clean area through there. Now, I do think that 133.84 is going to potentially drag this market lower and act as a target, also support. Okay, so let's discuss now in terms of resistance here. Obviously, we have the top of this channel here, and we also have some lows back in this area, right? So if we have to map this out, I think going forward, if we are going to see 133.84 and we do get a bounce here, again, I'm not saying that this is a long. I don't think it is. That's not the high probability setup right now, in my opinion. But you're looking at, these highs back here in this area and also these recent lows. So if you map this out, right, we've got this area through here. I'm going to switch up this template here into just a normal key level. And we've got these highs back here. You've also got these lows and the top of that channel, right? So if over the coming days, we do see the market show some relief from this area, get that relief rally up here, I think then we probably see the market continue lower. Now, of course, it could just continue lower from current levels, right? And I'm still short here. And my target is this area down here. So I'm fine either way, guys. If we go down here, test this level first, I'm fine with that. If we come up here first and then move lower, I'm also fine with that. All right, looking at the DXY now, guys, and if you do enjoy this content, if it is helping, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Also hit that like button. So looking at the DXY US dollar index, we've talked about all of this in recent videos as well. But looking at the 4-hour time frame, you have the market moving off of this channel support down here, right? So 97.7, this is what we talked about recently. And you've got these highs up here. This was that failed break above 99.35, those June highs right back here. So as soon as the DXY closed back below here, guys, that was the sign of weakness. And we saw the market move down here into this confluence of support. Now, recently, the market started to make higher lows. Okay, so we talked about this as well in a couple of videos this week. And you can see where, this led to the breakout above this descending channel, right? So notice off of these lows down here, we've got several highs off of this level. And you can see where we had the breakout right here, retest on Wednesday. Okay, so perfect retest right there off of that level on Wednesday. And of course, that led to the bounce back into 98.50/60 resistance. So we've got these highs back here, all these lows, also this open gap back here, which was filled. But this area is going to be resistance, guys, for the DXY. And this is exactly why, too, when you look at the pound, this right here lines up with the pound testing that support area. Okay, so again, potentially a little pullback here from the US dollar. I would not be shorting this, though. I would not be shorting the US dollar, even though the market is at resistance right now. If anything, in my opinion, if we get a pullback down here into these highs, you're looking for longs from this area, right? Just my opinion, not financial advice, of course. But I do think we could see a little bit higher here from the DXY. And one area that does have my attention, and I mentioned this before, but this wick right here, you can ignore because this is a trading view issue that they have yet to correct. The market was never up here, okay? So ignoring this right here, what we have is the DXY breaking down very aggressively back here, a very partial retrace, and then you have this pocket up here, okay, this imbalance for the DXY. So right around 99.35 up toward about 99.5, that area, guys, could serve as a magnet, so to speak, here for the US dollar index. Because again, we have this very aggressive breakdown. This was a failed breakdown. The market was never up here. And so we could see the DXY come up here and take out this high from right back here on August 1st. Okay, now, obviously looking at the pound, if we get that, judging by where the pound is in relation to 133.84, okay, so if the DXY is going to do that, and of course there are no guarantees, but if we see the DXY come up here and take out this area, then that right there could put the pound well below even this area down here, okay? So don't go thinking, guys, that this right here is going to be the bottom for the pound, right? Because we don't know this. This is my target. Yes, it is a key support. We probably see a bounce from there, but we could also see it just break below here, target poor lows like this back here, that unfinished auction, and then start trading in the lower half of this range, all right? So all things to consider, guys. Obviously no guarantees, as I said, but looking at the DXY, I do think this market could have a bit higher to go back here toward at least this high from back here on August 1st and potentially up here toward that imbalance. Now, of course, what would negate that is if we see the DXY rotate lower from here and start to take out some key levels, right? If we start to make lower highs and lower lows, then that could be a little bit different here for the DXY. And the same thing for the pound, to where if we were to see this market come up here, right, and take out the top of this channel and start to reclaim areas like this back here, then that, of course, would start to look more bullish for the pound. But as of right now, it does look relatively bearish. I am staying short here with my target being this region down here. Now, if we hit that and I get out for a profit and things still look good to short this market further, then I will use this chart along with the DXY to look for additional entries. But I'm not going to force it because that right there would be a 3R profit, which I'm very happy with. So I'm in this trade. I'm also in another trade that I shared in real time in VIP this week as well. So if you want those trades, guys, and my help with your trading, VIP only videos, the full course, be sure to check out the link in the description of this video for 85% off lifetime access. I'll see you on the inside. Trade well. I will talk to you again tomorrow.